Hello, family, friends, and fellow sojourners. I just shared our love story with you during yesterday's vlog, and I wanted to have an addendum to that story. I told you how I met my husband, but this, I think, was, again, a God thing. And it had to do with when my husband met my father for the first time. Now, I was raised by a stepfather from the time I was 3 on to adulthood, basically. So he was really the only father that I really recognized and knew. He was a very, very strict man. And I don't know why he reacted the way he did to Gary when he met him for the first time. But this is a story about how that was resolved. On the day that I took my husband to meet my father for the first time, I walked into the living room with Gary, and my father was reading the paper. And I said, "Dad, I'd like to introduce you to someone." Still reading the paper. I said, "Dad, this is Gary." Never took his paper down from his face, never responded in any way. And I was quite embarrassed for Gary. And in fact, I asked him just yesterday, I said, "Honey, when you were introduced to my father for the first time, how did that make you feel when he did not greet you in any way?" He said, "It didn't bother me at all." He said, "I was too young to even know that was a problem." And I said, "Well, it really bothered me." I said, "I was embarrassed for you, and I was upset that he had been so rude to you." But I think this was probably maybe 5 months after we started dating. My husband got a job after this event with the New York bakery. And you know, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It was definitely true in this situation. Because my husband started bringing, or my boyfriend started bringing donuts from the bakery. Donuts and bear claws and eclairs and cream puffs. All those specialty things. And the New York bakery was really well known in our community for being offering such delicious foods, fresh baked bread and all of that. But for some reason, my husband had the impetus to start sharing what my father termed as Gedunks, which was a Navy term. And I just looked that definition up yesterday and found out that Gedunk in naval terms was any kind of snack food. But he started looking forward to Gary bringing those Gedunks. And in fact, he grew quite fond of those. And when Gary would bring in a dozen or so of these things, fresh baked every day, my husband started looking forward to it and began conversations with Gary. And next thing I know, they were, quite close. It got to the point where if Gary and I were fighting in any way, my dad would say, "What did you do?" In other words, it would be, I was going to be in the wrong because Gary couldn't do anything wrong. He could do no wrong and I could do no right. But we quickly resolved those issues. So as long as my husband worked for that bakery, he was always bringing those things to my father. So it is, I think, just a sweet story, and the way the Lord orchestrated that, and my husband was able to ingratiate himself with a man that was very, very strict and stubborn, and but he knew how to get his attention. So I am thankful that the New York bakery came into my husband's life and entered our home by way of those Gedunks, because it definitely made a difference. So I hope that you enjoyed this story, and I may be sharing some other events that happened that I thought were the handprint of God. So I hope you enjoyed it. God bless you. Bye-bye.